He was a sage with a terrifying face, summoned to the palace at a crucial moment for one sacred duty, to continue a broken bloodline. But who would have thought? One fearful glance, one eye closed, shook the fate of Hastinapura forever. This is the story of the birth of Pandu and Dhritarashtra, two princes who would one day divide the world in two. And this was the beginning of it all, a birth, a curse, and a war that could not be avoided. How will this story unfold? Find out in this episode. The Mahabharata, Season 3, Episode 1, The Birth of Dhritarastra, Pandu and Vidura.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to support us and stay connected with more engaging videos.
Once upon a time, in the era of Dwapara Yuga, the third age of the world's cycle of yugas, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, in which humanity shows its first significant decline in righteousness. An age where morality and immorality coexist equally and spirituality is deteriorating. In this age, Krishna, an avatar of Vishnu, took birth to establish a dharma, divine truth or justice. He taught humanity vital lessons to expand their consciousness. He taught about dharma, responsibility, righteousness, devotion, the essence of life and fulfilling responsibility, without concern to the outcome, emphasizing unselfish conduct. He played a very important role in this era, where the great epic of Mahabharata taken place.
After the last funeral rites were performed for Vichitravirya, Satyavati wept and lamented for her deceased son. Ambika and Ambalika were also greatly overwhelmed at the untimely death of their husband. Upon realizing the possible extinction of the dynasty, Satyavati approached Bhishma, requesting him,
"The perpetuation of the Kuru dynasty now depends on you. The wives of your brother, Ambalika and Ambika, desire progeny, and under my order, you should procreate children by them to continue this dynasty. You should duly marry a wife of good character and enthrone yourself as king. Do not plunge our ancestors into hell."
Upon hearing Satyavati's request, the relatives and friends of the Kuru family agreed. However, Bhishma replied to his stepmother,
"Oh, mother, what you have said is certainly sanctioned according to the code of virtue. But you forget my vow regarding marriage and children. I have taken a vow of lifelong celibacy. I may have to renounce kingship of the three worlds, the kingdom of heaven, and anything greater that exists. But this vow I will never renounce. The earth may lose its scent, water may lose its moisture, the sun may lose its glory, and fire its heat. The moon may lose its cooling rays, or Indra his prowess, but I will not renounce this vow."
Hearing Bhishma's determination, Satyavati replied,
"I know the vow that you have taken is on my account, but considering the present emergency, you should accept this order as duty to the ancestors."
Bhishma again emphasized his duty to truth.
"O queen, do not sway from the path of virtue. Renunciation of a vow is never acclaimed in the Shastras or holy scriptures. Listen to this narration and then decide the right course of action. In a former millennium, Parashurama killed Kartavirya Arjuna in battle for the sin of slaying his father. Not only did he kill the followers of Kartavirya Arjuna, but he destroyed the entire Kshatriya race 21 times. When the earth was devoid of great warriors, the queens approached the great rishis and procreated children by them, and thus the Kshatriya race was revived. Therefore, a purified Brahmana should be invited with an offer of wealth, and let him raise children by the wives of Vichitravirya.
Smiling brightly, Satyavati agreed with Bhishma and informed him,
O descendant of Bharata, I agree with this proposal. I now understand what is to be done in this connection. My father was an honest man, and to maintain pious activities, he kept a boat for rowing passengers across the river Yamuna. One day, the great sage Parashara came and requested me to take him across the river. While I was rowing the boat, the sage became attracted to my beauty and requested fulfillment of his passionate desire. However, I was afraid of my father's wrath, but I was also afraid that the rishi might curse me. The sage brought me under his control, and in the middle of the river Yamuna, he created a dense fog. He satisfied his sensual desires and was very pleased with my submissiveness. Before that time,
Satyavati continued,
a fishy odor emanated from my body, but after the rishi's touch, a celestial aroma radiates from my person. The sage assured me that by bringing forth a child in the middle of the river, I would still remain a virgin. The child born of our union was the eminent erudite sage Vyasadeva. He has compiled the Vedic knowledge and expounded the science of devotion to God. Because he was born in the middle of a river, he became known as Dwapara, or the island born. Because he compiled the Vedas, he is known as Vyasadeva, and because of his blackish complexion, he is known as Krishna. He is truthful in speech, sense-controlled, and freed from all sins. If I ask him, then certainly he will generate good children by the wives of your brother. Previously, Vyasa had promised me,
Mother, when you are in difficulty, simply remember me, and I will come to you by the speed of the mind.
If you are willing, Bhishma, I will call him this very moment.
Upon hearing the name of Vyasa, Bhishma joined his palms in reverence, saying,
This sage has true wisdom and sense control, and would be a fit person to continue the Kuru dynasty. Therefore, you have my full approval.
When Bhishma had given his consent, Satyavati immediately thought of her son, Vyasa, and within moments the great sage appeared before her. Satyavati duly welcomed her son, and taking him in her arms, bathed him with affectionate tears. Vyasa offered obeisances to his mother, saying,
O mother, I have come to fulfill your desire. Command me at once, and I shall carry out your order.
O my son, recently Vichitravirya, the king of this world, expired, leaving no descendant, and thus the Kuru dynasty is in danger of extinction. Here is Bhishma, Shantanu's son, but he has taken a vow of celibacy and will not beget children. The two wives of Vichitravirya, Ambika and Ambalika, are still living, and I request you to conceive children by them to continue the Kuru dynasty.
Vyasadeva, hearing the appeals of his mother, replied,
Since Vichitravirya is my brother, born of your womb, I shall give birth to children who will equal the heavenly gods. Let the queens observe the vows I indicate for 1 full year.
Satyavati expressed her urgency.
There is very little time for vows. The earth is without a king, and the citizens, being without a protector, will certainly perish.
If conception must take place this month, then the queens of Kashi must be willing to bear my ugliness, strong odor, and matted locks. If they can perform these austerities, then they will give birth to noble children. Let one of the queens, dressed in clean clothes and bedecked with ornaments, wait for me in her bedchamber.
Satyavati then approached Ambika, explaining to her the situation. With great effort, Ambika was convinced that it was for the good of the world. When the right time came for conceiving a child, Satyavati took Ambika to the bedchamber and told her,
Vichitravirya had an older brother who has been until this time unknown to you. He will soon come here, and conceive a child by you that will perpetuate our dynasty. Wait for him here without dropping off to sleep."
Ambika then waited in her room, contemplating the person to be Bhishma or one of the other Kuru elders. Suddenly, Vyasadeva entered the room, and Ambika, seeing his matted locks, ugly features, and grim visage, closed her eyes in fear and did not open them once during the time of conception. When Vyasa came out of the chambers, he met his mother, who inquired,
"Will this princess have a worthy son?"
Hearing her, he replied,
The child born shall have the power of 10,000 elephants. He will be equal to a royal sage and will possess learning, intelligence, and prowess. However, because the princess has closed her eyes during conception, the child shall be born blind.
Upon hearing this prediction from her son, Satyavati wondered,
"How can a blind king rule this earth? How will he protect his family and the people of this world? You must again conceive another child that can act as a king."
Vyasadeva agreed and went away. In due course of time, Ambika gave birth to a male child who was blind. After the child's birth, he was given the name Dhritarastra.
Satyavati was anxious to beget another male child who could rule the world, and after receiving Ambalika's consent, she called for Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva came as promised and approached the chambers of Ambalika. Ambalika, seeing the repulsive features of Vyasa, turned pale with fear. After conception, the sage left the chambers and told his mother,
Because this queen has paled upon seeing my austere features, the child born will be white in color. His name, therefore, will be Pandu, or one with a white complexion.
In due course of time, Ambalika gave birth to a child endowed with auspicious marks. He was pale in complexion, but was handsome in all respects. Indeed, it was this child who would become the future father of the Pandavas. Sometime after this child was born, Satyavati approached the beautiful Ambalika, again asking her to conceive a child by Vyasadeva. The princess felt she could not bear again to see the ugly features of the sage, and thus she sent to her chambers one of her maidservants who had heavenly beauty. When Vyasa entered the chambers, the maidservant offered respects to the sage, treating him kindly. She took her seat near him when asked. Vyasadeva was well pleased with her, and upon leaving told her,
You shall be a slave no longer. Your child will be justice personified and esteemed among intelligent men on earth.
After leaving the queen's chambers, Vyasa met his mother and informed her of Ambalika's deception and how he had begotten a son by a Shudra woman. After speaking with his mother, Vyasa disappeared. The child born of the maidservant was named Vidura. He was an incarnation of Yamaraja, the great Vaishnava Mahajana and the Lord of Death. Due to the curse of Mandavya Muni, Yamaraja had to be born on earth as a Shudra. Thus, from the wives of Vichitravirya, Vyasadeva begot two sons, Dhritarastra and Pandu, who would save the Kuru race from extinction.
In the next episode, Dhritarashtra and Pandu are accepted as princes and the future heirs of the Hastinapur throne. Given that Dhritarashtra was the older of the two, the throne should have gone to him. However, he was born blind. Was he considered fit to rule? Find out in the next episode.
Let us continue to embark on a journey through time to explore the origins of this timeless epic. The story of mankind, the story of Dharma.
Whenever there is a decline in righteousness and an increase in sinfulness, O descendant of Maratha, at that time I manifest myself on earth to protect the righteous, to annihilate the wicked, and to re-establish the principles of Dharma. I appear on this earth, age after age. Weapons cannot shred the soul, nor can fire burn it. Water cannot wet it, nor can the wind dry it. All the best among warriors, Fight for the sake of duty, treating alike happiness and distress, loss and gains, victory and defeat. Fulfilling your responsibility, in this way you will never incur sense.